Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, June 21st, the first day of summer, so happy summer to everyone. Certainly weather is not cooperating and being sunny for our first day of summer, but at least it's summer. So for those of you that are new, my name's Deb Wilkinson. I'm the Vice President of the Health Plan Options Department at URL. These webinars, we do run them weekly. And you're encouraged to ask questions because there are a lot of things going on out there, and it's a resource for you also to learn, legislatively what's going on, product-wise what's going on with the carriers, and of course to be that resource for your clients. If you want to ask questions, you can do so in one of two ways. You can raise your electronic hand icon. It's in the control panel to the right of your screen. Or you can type questions into the question box and I'll answer those at the end of the webinar. So just with a show of hands, if you can just let me know if you can see my screen and hear me okay, that would be great. Thank you all. Okay, so let's get right into the agenda. So we talked last week about, and the week before about Texas and the 19 other states filing the lawsuit against the constitutionality of the ACA, saying that since the mandate's zeroed out, then community rating and guaranteed issue are combined with that. They're non-severable. So that's the argument that they're making, that if they're non-severable, which the original lawsuit proved, or at least was ruled that they aren't severable, then in this case, since there's no tax, it's zeroed out, therefore the rest of the house of cards fall. So again, nobody thinks that it's going to go anywhere, but of course the naysayers are out there spinning about how Medicaid people will be terminated and there's going to be higher prices and pre-X is going to be going away. None of that is true. It's really making a huge leap that it's going to trickle down and, really become law. But again, I'm kind of digressing here. At this point, I don't think we have anything to worry about one way or the other, whether you're for or against the ACA. Now, this just came in yesterday. Pennsylvania and 8 other states are speaking out about the importance of offering coverage for those with pre-existing conditions. So again, these are typically Democratic governors that are worried about the ACA and want to embrace the ACA and think that pre-X will be going away. So we'll keep watching it, but at this point, I don't think it's a threat to or against the ACA. On another court appeals, they issued a 2-to-1 ruling last week that states, and I'm going to summarize, that the federal government's promise to pay the risk corridor payments to the carriers is not a contract. The funds were not appropriated through Congress or the ACA law, and therefore they don't have an obligation to pay. So I'm sure that was a blow to the insurance carriers that were filing the suit. The stats out there are saying that about 12.6 cents of every dollar promised was paid. And I think this is an older problem, a problem that maybe the second or third year into it really caused some issues with having to try to price the plans. But at this point, it's kind of over and done with. Of course, I'm sure there will be some sort of backlash on that. Again, I don't know, but I thought it was important to mention this. Another conservative group outlines a repeal and replace plan. The Heritage Foundation, in conjunction with the Galen Institute and former Senator Rick Santorum, released the outline that includes a repeal of the Medicaid expansion and the subsidies and replaces those funds as federal funds with block grants. I asked who thinks this will see a vote. It's not going to see a vote. They have a lot of other things on their agenda, obviously, and it's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. Association health plans. This is the big one that was released on Tuesday. Information. In fact, Janet Troutwine from NAHU, she's the president and CEO of NAHU, the National Association of Health Underwriters, just put out a podcast. I'm going to include it in next week's newsletter. Didn't have time to get it in this week's newsletter that's coming out in a few minutes. But if you do want the podcast, I'm happy to email you the link for it before next week. So it's pretty informative. Definitely talks a lot about what association health plans are, how they're different. This ruling is different from the existing ruling. And it's, essentially it's going to allow small business owners, their employees, sole props, and other self-employed people, pardon me, to join in to purchase insurance in the large group market. It does expand the definition of employer. And I put in here that the new regulations are likely to meet legal challenges on the grounds that they violate federal labor law and would need approval from Congress versus an executive order. And I also say that states that embrace the ACA may likely push back, as this is seen as a detriment and increased premium driver of the ACA. So just in this morning, the Attorneys General of New York and Massachusetts said that they will be filing a lawsuit saying that association health plans lack consumer protections, and it invites fraud, mismanagement, and deception, which kind of cracks me up. I mean, isn't that just true of unfortunately most insurances? And I would point to Medicaid as being one of the most fraudulent, mismanaged, and deceptive sort of provisions that we have. So, kind of a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black, but there are legitimate concerns with many, and they should be heard. So again, if you want that podcast, it's going to talk a lot about the association health plans and how they differ from the current association health plans. As far as what our state will do, that's a toss-up. I think as far as the first bullet point, our state would love to create a mandate, an ACA mandate, saying that even if the ACA goes away, Pennsylvania residents are going to have to purchase qualified coverage or pay a penalty, a tax penalty. But of course, we have a Republican legislature, so probably won't get passed. As far as the association health plans, we as a state or a commonwealth have the ability to embrace them or not, make it easy to create new association health plans or not. And there are a lot of established associations that probably will not see any difficulty in getting these association health plans up and running for their members. But I think there will be some struggles for new associations, at least within this Commonwealth, to create association plans or associations in themselves and go down the route of associations. That it's difficult to think that these plans won't blow up. Associations typically have a much smaller risk pool, and you can't deny a member as a member of an association because of their health history. But if they're a member of the association, then therefore by default they would have rights to any association health plan. So it is what it is. We'll figure it out. We're watching it closely, and we do have some programs that really work well with the association blocks for ancillary coverage. So again, we'll embrace them if they're there. We'd like to be able to spin on a dime anyway, as we have since this law has passed. But again, we'll be here to support association health plans, and we'll see what we can do with them. Upcoming events, September 5th, Medicare Connections Conference at Hershey Lodge. Save that date. It's a very important conference for those that are in the Medicare markets or those that, are thinking about getting in the Medicare markets. Coincidentally, on the 6th of September, the Central Pennsylvania Association of Health Underwriters is also going to have a Medicare meeting. I'm not sure of the details. They haven't ironed those out yet, but if you have an interest in the week of the September 5th, you might want to just put your Medicare hat on, because you will have a lot of options to learn about Medicare. Again, I don't know what the agenda is for the CPHU conference. I'm happy to pass that to you when I receive it. our Medicare Connections, we bring in speakers, keynote speakers, as well as carrier speakers to give you a preview of what you would be selling for the open enrollment period for 2019. So it's a very important meeting for those that are in the Medicare market. So I hope you can save that date and get there. That's it. I don't have a lot of other things to discuss, not a whole lot of product details. There is a lot of articles worth reading in my newsletter that kind of talk about all of these administrative things that we discussed today. But at this point, we have some questions, and just to make mention, my next webinar is next Thursday, the 28th. I didn't put it here, but I am not going to have a webinar on July 5th. I will remind you of that next week. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So let's see what questions we have. Dave says, would the National General Life Association allow groups to get group health insurance? That's a really good question, Dave. That I don't know, but I will check into that. It is an association. It's a national association. It's an established association. So it's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. I will find out. Anyone else have any questions? If you want to go ahead and type those in, that would be great. And doesn't look like it. So at this point, I wish you all a very happy summer, first day of summer, and I thank you all for joining in every week. It's certainly helpful to me, helpful to hear the questions that are being asked in the field, and I'm happy that you take your time and join in every week. So as always, I wish you a great balance of the week and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.